Greetings to all you agriculturalists across the fruited plain. This is Rich Zollinger, your Extension Weed Specialist, and welcome to another short segment of Herbicide Mythbusters. Today we're discussing AMS, which is short for ammonium sulfate, and which comes in liquid and dry formulations. Dry formulations are usually cheaper and more common than liquid formulations. So what is the herbicide myth we're going to bust today? Do we really need 8.5 to 17 pounds of AMS per 100 gallons of water, as most glyphosate labels recommend? One complaint of dry AMS is that it takes so long to dissolve. Wouldn't it be great if we could just use less? So let's take a shot at this 8.5 to 17 pounds per 100 gallons of water recommendation, this myth. To answer this question, we need to thank one of the world's greatest weed scientists that spent his whole career here at NDSU, Dr. John Nalawaya, who's now Professor Emeritus of Weed Science at NDSU. He pioneered adjuvant research and developed an equation to calculate the amount of AMS needed to overcome any hard water antagonism. Here's the formula. You take the parts per million of potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and iron, and times them by the constant that is given in the equation, 0.002 for potassium, all the way down to 0.42 with iron. And these values, these parts per million values, comes off of your water quality report from the company that tested your water. So based on the following information that can be used to describe water hardness, soft water is less than 75 parts per million, and very hard water is greater than 300 parts per million. Let's plug the value of 300 parts per million calcium into that equation. If I times that by the constant 0.009, I only have to add in 2.7 pounds of ammonium sulfate. So again, we ask the question, do we need 17 pounds of AMS per 100 gallons of water? Water hardness values varies in North Dakota, but we can make a few conclusions. Number one, calcium and sodium are very common in North Dakota water. Number two, water hardness in general increases as we move west toward Montana. Number three, the areas of western North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana are very unique, and then it's about the only place in the United States where we have sodium in our water. Number four, water hardness values can range from 100 to 1,000 parts per million, but 600 parts per million is very common. So let's plug that 600 parts per million composing of 300 parts per million of sodium plus 300 parts per million of calcium into the equation, and we get 1.5 plus 2.7 pounds gives us 4 pounds, a little over 4 pounds of ammonium sulfate to overcome that antagonism. A few years ago, AgriAlliance, now with their name changed to Winfield Solutions, tested thousands of water samples across the north central region. They concluded that in over 90% of the water samples, it took only 4 pounds of AMS, and that was enough for 90% of the water samples in the whole north central region. So what does this mean? Well, I can think of two things. In most cases, we only need 4 pounds, not 17 pounds per 100 gallons of water, and think of the great savings in time and convenience for that. And number two, you really need to know the spray water quality, and then you'll know exactly the quantity of AMS needed. And the water samples can be sent for analysis to the NDSU Water Quality Testing Lab, which is listed on page 72 in the North Dakota Weed Control Guide. With that, we have just busted another herbicide myth. Now go kill some weeds.